En este archivo sonar recordamos la entrevista que tuvimos en febrero del 2023 con el baterista de Radiohead, Phil Selway. Hablamos de su entonces recién lanzado disco solista Strange Dance y también el nebuloso hasta hoy futuro de Radiohead, además de cosas más triviales como esas odiosidades hacia Grip, el primer gran single de la banda, eso y más. Disfrútenlo.
Hi, this is Phil Selway from Radiohead, and you're listening to Radio Sonar. As I say, kind of when I first thought about the record, I thought about it, imagined it as kind of like this fantasy collaboration between Carole King and an English composer called Daphne Oram, who's very experimental electronic composer. And then this project that they'd invited me to come in and drum on. So kind of I'd intended to drum on it from the outset, and there are little bits of my drumming on there. But once I actually got into the studio, I think I gave myself about a day and a half of doing stuff, and it didn't feel right at that point. I think part of it was because my head was in a particular space, which was very much focusing on the overview of the arrangements and where I wanted the songs to go, and so I found it hard to kind of then start focusing on the details within drum parts. And also because I've been focusing on getting the songs ready for the sessions as well. In truth, I hadn't been drumming an awful lot. And so you get in there and you start playing, you think, I sound like an absolute fool. So I kind of knew the textures that I wanted, drumming wise and rhythmically wise and percussively. And I spoke about this to Marta Salogni, who produced the album. And she suggested Valentina Magaletti, who is just an incredible drummer and percussionist. Yeah. And it was incredible, actually. Valentina came into the studio a couple of days later, and she just brought this incredible life to the material. And she worked so quickly as well, which was an eye-opener for me, because I'm quite painstaking in putting drum parts together in the studio. It can take me quite a while. And then just to see her come with this, like, kind of like, it's almost like tsunami of creativity and percussion. It was, it created this real energy and this real joy at the heart of the material, and then perfect base to build everything up on top of. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hannah's music, I think that kind of informed a lot of my kind of musical decisions coming up to the record. And then to have somebody like Hannah come in to the sessions. She came in quite later on in the sessions. And I must say, at first I was a little concerned, thinking, have we left space for Hannah here? But she came in and she found that she brought this whole other world to the songs that she was playing on. And as you say, you know, she's perfect example of kind of pulling together that electronic and that acoustic, that electroacoustic world, and that very much that experimental approach. She was kind of in my head. She was like the Daphne Oram figure that I'd kind of thought about when I was thinking about the album in its kind of original conception. And so, yeah, I mean, incredible. You know, asking all these musicians to play, you know, it's like Adrian Utley from Portishead and Quinta and Laura Moody, who did all the string arrangements, and Valentina and Hannah Peel, and to have all these people say, yeah, we'll work on it with you. I mean, yeah, how incredible is that? Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. Do you know what? We've been very lucky in Oxford, where I come from, with the kind of bands that have come out of the city, and I mean, kind of like 20 years after we first started to emerge from the place, then Foals came along, and actually, suddenly going to see a band where it was just that huge energy, that focus, and that I guess willing to keep on pushing themselves. That was great. That was amazing to kind of play on the same bill as them, and then to actually think, oh, we all come from the same place as well. It's very good. Oh, I mean, in some ways, it's not my favorite Radiohead record, if I'm being totally honest. Um, but I think what it did for us as a band, the kind of the opportunities it gave us, particularly with the song "Creep" as well. It, I think, it was so instrumental in buying us the space and the freedom to then go on and develop as we did. Into the Bends, definitely into OK Computer, and I kind of listen back to that record now. There's I hear a naivety in what we were doing. We kind of hadn't fully realised how we wanted to sound at the time, but you do get those moments across the record when you think, yeah, you can see how it could come, where it was going to go. I think. A couple of tracks spring to mind. 15 Step on opens up in Rainbows. I loved how that track developed. It was very much, that was based around the kind of it's a sequence that I think Johnny wrote, underpins it all, and just finding that how then the live kick can weave in and out of that. Yeah, I love it. And that is an amazing track to play as well live. And actually, I guess some of my favourite drumming moments in Radiohead are on In Rainbows as well. Kind of Body Snatchers, which was just this kind of it's kind of, as a drum part, it's so aggressive to play, and you really yeah, it's you have to throw yourself completely into that one, and that's always a lovely one to play live as well. I think looking back to other albums on OK Computer, there's Paranoid Android, and actually pulling all those different kind of patterns together, and all those different sections of the song together. You go into these you kind of go into the sessions on for these tracks. It's like with Pyramid Song as well, and actually what you start off doing feels quite sketchy, feels quite amateur as you're trying to scrabble around to find a decent idea in there. But then just that sense as it all takes hold, and you can hear its character starting to emerge. You hear the character in the drum parts start to emerge at the same time as hearing the wider arrangement come together. And those moments are so exciting because they feel quite shaky at the start. And as part of you kind of like doubting, whether you're going to do justice to the song. But then as it all kind of takes shape and beds in, it's a great feeling. I had that, say, 15 Step, Pyramid Song. Yeah, they're lovely moments when they happen. I saw them play. They did some shows in London towards the start of last year. They were kind of live streamed shows. And that was the first. I hadn't heard any of the music before then, so that was my first kind of encounter with it, and I loved it. It was great. You know, that there's that wonderful dynamic that Tom and Johnny have got, and seeing that from the front of the stage rather than sitting behind them watching it, that was great to watch that. But then also seeing how kind of that interacts with Tom Skinner's drumming. I mean, he's an incredible drummer and just got these amazing grooves going on, got all these jazz chops as well. And so it was really lovely seeing them, Tom and Johnny, in a different context. You know, it's a kind of, it's, you can, yeah, you, I think when you're in a band together, you can, at points, you can probably, particularly a band that's been going as long as we have, you can see each other in particular contexts, and then to actually step out of that and see and kind of like see everybody with fresh eyes again. I think that's really, yeah, I found it exciting watching it. I remember both shows quite vividly, really. The first show that you're talking about with Kraftwerk, what I particularly remember about that one is that we went out into a club in Santiago afterwards, and it was us with Kraftwerk. And I remember dancing the night away on the dance floor with Ralph. That was amazing. Couldn't believe it. So the last show that we played in Santiago, that was the first show on our tour of because we played throughout South America on that tour. It's always kind of very for want of a better word, humbling, coming to somewhere so far away from home and having that kind of warmth of reception, and knowing that people, seeing that actually the material has connected with people, and yeah, very much got that sense. That was such a brilliant way to start that tour, and yeah, it was lovely being in Santiago. It was, that's what a great city.